I'm gonna be totally honest here. I thought I was done pushing my skill in this game. The last change to my top 10 was 2024. The last time I beat a new hardest was 2023. It has been a while since both of those. On top of that, I've just become a busier and busier person. My online life is shrinking as my real life has been growing. And on top of all of that, I've just not been feeling the same way about the game that I used to. Well, until now. Because if there's one thing that is true about my time playing this game, it's that I tend to be a bit of a phoenix. Welcome to my Nell video, and welcome to the first level of 7 in my training. So, how did I improve after that long? How did I finally end up beating a new level in my top 5? What got me out of the slump? Ironically, it's changes I made to my life outside the game. Eating better, sleeping better, exercising more, spending more time with people, and even, paradoxically, limiting how much time I spend online. This game is all mental, especially at the higher levels of play. So if you focus on training your mind and improving your mental health, if you reduce your stress and try to tackle whatever issues you have, the game feels so much less daunting. Another way I was able to improve was within the game, and that's changing my approach to what levels I choose to go for. This is vital. Stop jumping to levels. Just don't. Do not. Cognition is still my hardest demon, though hopefully by the end of this training arc, that will change. But in my quest to outdo my cognition completion, I tried to jump a lot. I really wanted to surpass cognition with something really impressive. So I tried Arcturus, Tartarus, the Golden, Zodiac, Terminal Rampancy, Henos, Minus Dry. The list just goes on and on and on and on. I simply refused to take the time to actually solidify my skill around that level of cognition difficulty. I also refuse to slowly ramp up from cognition to get to harder stuff. The fact is, you simply cannot jump to these levels without a strong foundation to jump from, not if you want to actually improve at the game. Even if I did pull off one of these jumps, it wouldn't have bought me much skill in the end. In January 2026, I genuinely decided to just quit the game. I made that decision, but just like everyone who tries to quit the game, you can never escape it. So I had only actually quit for about 3 weeks when I started to think about coming back. Because within those 3 weeks came all those positive changes to my life that I talked about before. So with those changes in mind, I started thinking, if I'm improving in all these areas of my life, why not improve in Geometry Dash? Besides, I've got so much unfinished business in this game. Why not start out slow, the new 5th hardest, slow, and then push upwards from there. So at the start of February, after weighing some different levels, I picked up Nelv. The first week was almost completely dominated by one thing: learning. And I know there are some people who say this isn't a memory level. I will never understand you if you say this. I never will. It took so much effort for me to learn where all the correct paths were, how the parts worked, how the duels worked, how this thing worked. It took me 2 entire days just to do the last duel to 100 a single time. Day 4 though, I got a really good run for the first time, getting 57 to 95. By day 5, I got a best from 0 of 29% to finish off the learning process. Yes! 29! I made it to the drop. I've learned the whole level now. To learn the entire level took a staggering 6,318 attempts, which is a full 2/3 of my attempts. If you're good at math, try to guess what my final attempt count is in the comments. Or if you're bad at math, try it. Do it. Please. YouTube algorithm, please, 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 please. I ended off the week with some pretty insane runs now that I had learned the whole level. I got runs of 57 to 100%, 42 to 97%, and 28 to 80%. However, the real progress was from 0. It was a way better first week than I could have possibly dreamed of. But if you told me what would have happened in week 2, I would have thought you were lying. It was genuinely unreal. Week 2 saw some insane continued progress and then a slump. Day 8, my trajectory on the level just skyrocketed. I managed to pull off a 42 to 100% run, which was just a huge milestone that I'd been working on for a few days at this point. And then I also managed to pull off an insane new best from 0 of 53%. Yes. Day 9, I did the exact same runs, which I was content with because consistency, but this proved to be the start of a bit of stagnation. Days 10 and 11, I wouldn't be able to replicate these runs, and I entered day 12 a little depressed. But day 12 also ended the slump, because it was on that day that I got my absolute biggest run to 100, being 28 to 100% out of nowhere. I wasn't recording. I haven't gotten like any good runs in 2 days. I just got 28 out of 100 out of nowhere. I was just trying to practice the drop, dude. What do you mean? This little slump in my progress may not seem like a big deal, but I am a serial dropper of levels with literally dozens left unfinished. So it rattled me a good bit. There had been so many times in the past where I got stuck just like this and I simply gave up. So what I did was try to focus on my consistency and the overall picture of my journey. If you looked just at the days of 8 to 12 by how often I reached the part at 42%, the trend was actually going upwards in terms of consistency. I also tried to focus on the actual runs I was getting on the level instead of what I thought I should be getting. This really helped keep pushing me forward until I got that 28 to 100% run that snapped me out of it and got me back on track. Day 13 of Nelv is the best I've played in my entire life, and I am not exaggerating. I started off the session pretty awful. I was unable to even get the 57 to 100 runs that I did every single day. I was frustrated, but I was still buoyed by that 28 to 100 run from the day before. So I just went from zero, not expecting anything, but I started destroying the level anyways. I tied my best of 53% almost immediately, which was my 4th time dying there by now. I was a bit disappointed, but I was fine with it because I was finally getting back to the wave. Just a few minutes later though, a new best, 54%. 1% best. Yay! Admittedly, again, a little disappointing. I really wanted to pass that wave, but new best, so take what wins you can get. Only a few minutes after that, though, a huge new best. 68%. Yes! I cannot emphasize enough how massive this was for me. Over and over and over during the slump, I told myself that if I could just get to that mountain part, I would have a good shot at just straight up beating the level. And I was so close to the mountain part. I figured it would take about a few weeks of grinding out attempts to the mountain to be able to beat it, so being just a few seconds away from getting there was huge. Not to mention, I'd finally beaten that impossible wave at 50. This confidence boost was really important to me, and without it, I don't think I could have done what I did next. One of my most insane things I've done in the game ever. I fluked Nelv. still can't believe this happened. I went from totally stuck in the game to beating a 5th hardest in under 2 weeks. I beat it faster than every single other level in my top 10. Well, at the time. What the fuck is happening? No matter what else happens throughout this training arc, this is something I can and will always be proud of. Coming back to the game, using what I learned in other parts of my life, and finally succeeding where I'd failed so many times before. People love to say that this is the best level ever, and I almost agree with them, but not quite. Starting off with the most important part of any level, we have the gameplay. This level is incredibly inventive, incredibly fun, incredibly smooth to play, but not perfect. To get the one bad part of the level out of the way, the final duel was just very finicky and I did not enjoy it much, despite never dying to it from zero. I also considered knocking the level for how just brutally hard the 50 wave was, but honestly I think that is probably just me not being very good at wave and getting a mind block, not actually any fault of the level. As for the good though, pretty much every part of this level has some super interesting ideas, and it really makes the learning process amazing as you try to figure out just how each part ticks and what the nuances of it are of everything. Even after learning, however, these parts stay fun, and they always make you feel like just the best player in the world whenever you pull them off. Final gameplay score, 73 out of 75. For the decoration and the song, just full points, obviously. And I'm talking about them together because this level just has the best song representation I have seen ever. Every single part really pushes the atmosphere of the song into the forefront. Its effects, with the way the icon moves across the screen, the usage of colors, everything. It's flawless. This level gets a final score of 98%. Anyone with the skill to play this level should play it. Fantastic. Where do we go from here? Well, as I mentioned before, this isn't the end of my journey, not by any means. This is just the start of my new training arc, where I'm gonna really try to push my skill. This series, plus 2 holiday special videos I have planned, are gonna take up the entire rest of the year. So if you want to see where I end up at the end of the year, subscribe. Also, we'll still be beating something special at 1K subscribers. I know that last video I said it would be Ragnarok, but I didn't want to wait, okay? And I'm sure whatever I do end up beating will be plenty hard, so we'll just see what my skill looks like when I reach that milestone, and I'll choose something fun. Thank you for watching.